Fowler with us now. Okay, Trey Hendrickson to Baltimore happened because Max Crosby's moved fell through. So what's up with Crosby and the Raiders now?
Well, Jay, Max Crosby has notified the Raiders that he's 100% all in. If they want to have him in 2026, he's ready to be a Raider, get himself healthy off that knee issue, and provide a big season in 2026. Now, it's up to the Raiders whether they want to hold on to him or whether they want to trade him. People I've talked to with the team believe that as of now, they could see a path where he's a Raider next season, and then they move on. And they've already signed a lot of players in free agency, which I'm told that Crosby's really happy about. He saw the team has improved. So the relationship seems to be in a good spot. They didn't burn any bridges during the trade talks, but really it's a timeline issue now. Do the Raiders want to try to take their best offer on a trade now, or do they hold on to him, maybe wait till the draft? That could heat up things a little bit, maybe even in season or close to the trade deadline when he's healthy and playing well in 2026. But right now, it seems like they're in a good place and they're moving together for the short term at least.
Okay, let's go to Philly because it has been really quiet on the A.J. Brown front. What's the latest in that situation?
Well, I don't sense a lot of momentum on a trade right now, Jay, when I survey the league. You know, teams have tried. The New England Patriots have been involved. Look, the Eagles have been asking for a lot to do any sort of A.J. Brown trade, to even entertain it. A first-round pick and more, according to the executives I've spoken to. And so now the question is, do they hold on to him or do they entertain a trade later in the offseason where if they trade him after June 1st, Jay, they can save a lot of money on their dead salary cap. So right now if they trade him, it'd be about $43 million against their dead salary cap. If they wait, it'd be $16 million waiting until the summer. So that's at least a consideration. Nothing happening right now, but the Eagles have been entertaining this at the very least for the last few weeks, really leading up to free agency. No momentum yet. We'll see what happens right now. He and Jalen Hurts are Eagles together.
We'll keep watching it. Jeremy Fowler, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Steelers are in a familiar situation. They are waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision on his future before committing to a quarterback. Hey, Graziano, they could just make a move for Kirk Cousins right now. He's released. It doesn't feel like it's all that far removed from waiting for Aaron Rodgers, or at least as far as what you might get in return. Do you think they should be making a move on Cousins at this point?
I don't think they should be waiting for Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I would say yes. I would rather have the bird in the hand if I were Pittsburgh, but I just don't think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. I think if Aaron Rodgers decides not to come back, then Cousins probably becomes a consideration for Pittsburgh. But it doesn't sound like he is yet.
They keep trying to hold this thing together, and I hear more and more from Steelers fans that they wish that they would just take a stick of dynamite and put it and lay it at the foot of this foundation and blow this whole thing up.
I was waiting for that during the J.J. McCarthy conversation. Anyway, Sefty, let me try and be serious for just a brief second here. Everything the Steelers have done suggests that they anticipate Aaron Rodgers being their quarterback this year. That's the way it feels to me sitting here. Does that seem like a reasonable way for me to be looking at it?
I think the better verb is hoping, Greeny, not anticipating, hoping that he'll be the quarterback. Maybe cautiously optimistic that he'll be their quarterback. But we are back in the same scenario that we've been in, it seems like, every recent offseason. Waiting on Aaron Rodgers, waiting for him to decide whether he does or doesn't want to play, waiting for him to decide where he wants to go. We're waiting again. Again, the feeling initially was mid-March, but that seemed to be pushed back some. And while you're talking about Kirk Cousins, that would be a viable alternative. Kirk Cousins also isn't in any rush to go do anything right now, so he can sit back and wait, and he will sit back and wait, I believe. And so Aaron Rodgers can take his time, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are hoping that he'll come back, and if he does, then they'll have their quarterback. If not, then the Steelers could pivot to somebody like Kirk Cousins.
And RC, you still have a lot of that. I mean, you still care deeply about that franchise, as I know you have for many years, and you think they should go with the young guy.
Yeah, I do. I believe you should go with Will Howard, and maybe you look in the third round and a guy like Drew Aller from Penn State, who hasn't a ton of upside, is still available. So for me, if I'm Omar Khan, the general manager, all these things I hear about Will Howard, potentially having all the intangibles to be a great quarterback. You said Mike McCarthy was great with the young quarterbacks, whether it was Aaron Rodgers and developing other guys. Give him that opportunity as well in Pittsburgh.
But I think it's important for us to remember that the reason why the Steelers failed last year was in large part because the defense underachieved. Yes. I think that we believed that the Steelers would get an average or to around that of quarterback play from Aaron Rodgers, and they probably ended up getting that. Then that defense wasn't as good as they expected. So I'm assuming that that's what they're thinking, is we'll try this again, but this year, the defense
and you
will live up to
also add
expectations.
Michael Pittman Jr., right? So now you have a number 2 or a 1B to DK Metcalf that can win in one-on-one situations versus a number 2, but who's throwing the football?
Well, if it's Aaron Rodgers, Pittman's probably a good fit, right? Because a lot of his stuff is close to the line of scrimmage. And
Fair
no,
point.
seriously, I mean, that's what they ran last year. To your point about the defense, though, like the defense, I don't think underachieved. That defense was getting old and played like an old defense last year. Are they going to make major changes on that side of the ball? It doesn't look like
they already re-signed Cam,
right?
You know what I mean? So it seems like they're going to try to reload with the players that they had last year.
They're just sort of the opposite of what sports have become today, and there's a part of me that respects it, which is that they're looking at it and they're saying, our best chance to win as many games as we can is probably Aaron Rodgers. So rather than be as bad as we can, which I understand why fans want, rather than that, I'm going to go out and try and win as many games as I can.
But you have to be honest with yourself about what you have. I think the Steelers overrate their roster the last couple of years and think, oh, we're a quarterback away from contending with the rest of this team. I don't think that defense is that anymore.
And the other thing you have to realize, the Steelers are totally opposite of what they used to be. They were a draft, develop, and re-sign team. Now they've become a team that goes big game hunting.
The Ravens trading a pair of first-rounders to the Raiders for star pass rusher Max Crosby, and as we've all seen, that trade does not wind up coming to fruition. And so we understand, and we talked at great length about where this leaves the Ravens. Shafty, where does it leave Max Crosby? What should we be thinking as far as his future is concerned, both short-term and long? And I guess by long, I mean the upcoming season.
Well, he committed to the Raiders last night. I don't have any spies or sources telling me that they were at a chapel renewing their vows in Las Vegas or anything of that sort. But Max Crosby said that he's committed to staying with Las Vegas. And look, if we look at the Raiders, they had said all along that they would only trade Max Crosby if they got a price that they couldn't refuse, the price that they wanted. Baltimore stepped up and did that. It's hard to imagine a team at this point, knowing there are some questions out there, would be willing to step up when there weren't. There wasn't a team before willing to offer 2-1s. Baltimore was the only one. Dallas got to a 1 and a 2. I don't even think they get to a 1 and a 2. And really, the best thing for Max Crosby and the Raiders right now is probably to stay together. They're not willing to sell low on him. They wanted him there to begin with. And so he was the one that wanted out. Last night, he affirmed his commitment to the team. Sounds like he's okay being there. They were always okay being there. Could there be a trade that develops at some point down the line? Absolutely. But it certainly seems like the most likely scenario of all the scenarios that are out there right now would be Max Crosby spending this and future seasons in Las Vegas.
The one scenario that we haven't explored is like they've added Nakobe Dean, they've added Kwity Paye, they've added Quay Walker, they're bringing in Mendoza. This team, like, we don't know how good Mendoza is. They have a new coach. Like, this team could be
Linderbaum.
They added Linderbaum. They could find themselves in the middle of the season. Like, you know what will really help us right now? A game-changing pass rusher.
Right.
And it might end up sticking there, and then the end of this story is a little bit different. That's the only possibility. We're all assuming that they want to move on from him as soon as they can for as much as they can. They may not.
I mean, I love that. You know, the Raiders could end up being his Uncle Phil. I mean, you remember when Will was sitting there, and he was like, when his daddy came and loved, he's like, why he don't want me, man? And then Uncle Phil opened his arms and hugged him. Maybe that's what this situation ends up being. Max Crosby goes back to a place that sometimes you got to see that the grass isn't always greener. Right. And now they've added some of these pieces because they wanted to supplement not having Max Crosby on the defensive side of the ball. If he's healthy, if he's back to an all-pro level, and you could find some things that work for you offensively with Clint Kubiak, I believe this could be a team that could be better, and maybe Max isn't as much of a malcontent as he was because they find ways to win some games.
That's the point, right? The Raiders didn't go into this offseason and say, we got to trade Max Crosby. He was, you know, because of the way last season ended, he didn't want it, or had indicated behind the scenes that he didn't want to be there anymore. I think the tweet from last night with the Undertaker and everything that, that's a signal that maybe, hey, maybe the grass isn't greener. Maybe I do like it here. Maybe, you know, they love me.
Yes.
Right? So, but I don't think they're good. To Adam's point, they can't just turn around and call the Cowboys and say, okay, we'll take your deal now, because that deal's not on the table anymore.
Right. Go ahead, Shefty.
Yeah, the Cowboys doctor, Dr. Cooper, was one of the doctors that reviewed the scans here. Anyway, here's the deal. I always felt like there were people out there who would go to Max Crosby and say, Max, there's a new head coach here in Las Vegas, Quinn Kubiak, and he's very good. And we're going to draft the #1 pick in this draft, Fernando Mendoza. And we have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. And look at all the cap room we have, where we saw them use it this week to add all the players that they did. These are not exactly the same Raiders.
Right.
The issue was on Max Crosby's part, not the Raiders. Now, last night, Max Crosby is saying, I'm committed to staying there. Well, the Raiders prefer that anyway. His value is not going to be what it was. Again, in this league, as we know, anything always is possible. But the most likely option of all the options out there, sorry Chicago, sorry Detroit, sorry Dallas, sorry all the franchises